You ever wake up before sunrise thinking today's just gonna be leftover chili and a busted gate hinge, maybe catch a ball game, if you're lucky, then look out and realize your whole life's about to get a lesson in HOA logic? Yeah, that happened. That's how I found out. I apparently lived in the executive home at Lot 1. At least that's what the plastic placard zip-tied to my mailbox said, right next to two figures in reflective vests snapping flash photos of my ditch like they'd discovered the lost city of Atlantis. Their sedans half up on my gravel headlights bleaching the old sycamore so white it looked like a ghost. One's a woman with a yardstick and a spiral notebook peering through my fence at last night's storm runoff like she's mapping the Grand Canyon. The other's got a polo with some crest on it measuring a mud splash against my fence post as if he's archiving a crime scene. So I step out, rubbing sleep from my eyes, and say, "You're about 40 acres short of where you think you are." They jump like I'm the mailman with a warrant. The man's shirt reads POA close enough to HOA around here, where folks treat bylaws like they outrank deeds. He raises a hand, all business. "Sir, we're documenting a violation. Please step back." "Whose violation?" I ask. "Yours," the woman says, flipping a notebook like she's proud of it. "Mud encroachment onto shared visual space code 127. It creates a blight. Shared with who I shoot back. My cows." They look at each other the way a cow looks at a hot fence, curious, but not enough to touch it. A minute later, after some awkward throat clearing and a phone call to someone named Lacey, I learned they've mixed up my place with the house across the road, the one on the fancy new curve of the development where the boss, a guy called Gideon, lives, hidden behind ornamental pears. See, in the pre-dawn, those pears cast the same long shadows as my sycamore. But shadows don't read deeds. "You mean the road that used to be my hay wagon path?" I ask. The man double-checks his notes, trying to sound official. "Your property falls under the estate's view corridor. Runoff that creates mud visible from the private road is a finable offense." That private road sure looks like the county blacktop to me. The woman's headlamp bounces along my cattle panels as she reads, "Your compliance packet was mailed last month." Never got one, I say. Unless you count that open-air living flyer which I used to light a burn pile. The man glances toward my porch, voice getting thin. There's a complaint about an unmaintained lot. "If you want to discuss fines, our office opens at 9. Fines." He hands me a neon yellow ticket. "Initial penalty for not cleaning mud after a rain, $300. I stare at the ticket, then at the line of hoof prints zigzagging from the water trough to the pasture gate. It had rained 8 inches last night. My creek sometimes thinks it's a river. Water comes rolling off their sculpted lots like a bowling ball down a staircase straight through my ditch, smearing a chocolate sheen over my lower pasture. Mud isn't my choice, it's gravity and the way they graded their land. "You're trespassing," I say, voice low. "Get off my property now." The woman, adjusting her vest, tries. "This is all a misunderstanding. We're happy to educate you on the standards." I pull on my old canvas coat, one with a rip in the sleeve and the smell of diesel. "You've got 60 seconds to step back through my gate, or we're having a lesson in criminal trespass." They freeze. The man snaps a photo of my boots. I just point to my no trespassing sign hung at chest height because the folks who ignore signs never look down. "You're in violation of that. And by the way, look up the state's right to farm law. Mud, smell, and noise aren't public nuisances just because they mess up your curated view." After a hurried huddle, the man tries for dignity. "We'll leave the citation for your acknowledgement. Our general counsel." I laugh, not politely. "Your counsel can call my tractor." He sticks the citation in my gate like it's a love note and hightails it to the car. Only when he floors it, their sedan settles right down to the axle in my gravel, sounding like a blender chewing a spoon. I try to help, really turn the wheel the other way, feather it, but he just buries it deeper. Eventually the car dies, steaming in the cold. Now I don't laugh at machines breaking down bad luck. But there's poetry in trespassers stuck at the threshold. The woman tries to play it cool, slips on a fresh ribbon of mud, catches herself on my fence, and meets my eyes like she's hoping for mercy. "I'll get the Kubota," I say. "I'll pull you out, but first you're leaving my property." They protest. I say, fine, I'll call the sheriff in a tow. Your choice. That gets them moving. I watch from the gate, coffee in one hand, phone in the other, feeling like I reclaim something. They mutter they'll be in touch, but it sounds more like someone realizing they're in the wrong story. Tow truck comes, I pay out of my emergency fund money meant for vet bills and fence wire. Driver nods, asks, these any kin to the folks who complained about your rooster last month? Different set, same pamphlet, I tell him. I get chores done, but now there's a fuse running from my mailbox straight to a building full of people with clipboards. By sunrise, I find fresh footprints near the development's retention pond, plus a folding level abandoned by the outflow pipe which surprised someone's adjusted to dump water right at my gate. I take pictures because too many photos is a lesson I learned the hard way. At 9 sharp, I get a call from Tamsin compliance officer. Her voicemail asks for payment by the end of the week, with some background noise about escalating notices. That's the kind of mistake folks make when they forget voicemails can be replayed. So I call my friend Ray at the feed store, who knows everybody's cousin. You heard about the new board, I ask. Only that their president thinks his backyard's a museum. She laughs. I tell her about the mud ticket, the sunrise photos. She says, you've been outside their boundaries since their first bulldozer broke ground. Tell them that I sigh. Because there's what's true and how many times you have to say it. She's already got a copy of the right to farm law at the register. With my binder, deed plat photos, statutes, and that crumpled citation, I head to the county zoning office. Keegan at the front desk, mustache like a faded yearbook photo, takes one look. How bad is it, he asks. Messy, I say. Need to confirm boundaries and get the drainage plan for the retention pond. Turns out I'm not the only one. Everyone's asking about that outflow. I show him the re-angled pipe photo. He squints. They're not supposed to touch that without inspection. Well, they did, I say, trying to keep their curb dry by flooding my field. Keegan prints me a boundary map, and the estate's covenants shows my land's always been outside their reach. I swing by the sheriff's office next. Deputy Holston, seen every way folks ignore fences, listens. Takes my report, tells me don't escalate. Let the badge do the talking. I nod. Drive home under a sky holding its rain fix, the gate hinge. I meant to fix at dawn and walk my fence line. Up on the ridge I find a candy wrapper, a cigarette butt, and fresh footprints stopping at the rise, turning back to the estate homes. It's funny what people leave behind when they're not supposed to be there. 3 o'clock, a white SUV pulls up. Out steps Gideon, sunglasses, straight out of a real estate brochure, clipboard in hand. I'm the community association president, he says, already bored of hearing himself. I apologize for my team's enthusiasm, but we need to discuss the mud. I point to the pasture. It's mud. It's what dirt becomes when it rains. He gives me a practiced chuckle. The effect is unfortunate for residents. Your residents can admire their own lawns, I say. He starts quoting view corridors and covenants, but I cut him off my deeds older than his blueprints. He pivots. Wouldn't it be goodwill to rake the mud after storms? I rake mud when it helps my land, not for aesthetics, I answer. Then I mention the altered outflow pipe. He offers to send a crew to grade my ditch. I say no. My creek feeds a neighbor's pond, which keeps the frogs happy, keeps the mosquitoes in check. You're being difficult on purpose, he huffs. No, just precise on principle, I reply. He tries again. Second notice escalating penalties. I mention his voicemail and the court reporter. He realizes he's in over his head but still tries to sound tough. We just want a clean neighborhood, he says. So do I reply. I'm starting with the folks who cut their pond to flood my land. He leaves dust cloud trailing. I write letters to the estate's registered agent, to Gideon, to the county about the pipe, to the sheriff about new cameras on my fence line. I'm not playing anymore. Next morning, the camera catches 2 more would-be inspectors, tape measure stretched toward my ditch. They don't cross, but they're close. Later, Priya from the office calls voice so polite it ought to be a customer service ad. She says I'm outside their covenants, but asks if I'll work with them on the visual blight. I say easy, put the pipe back, right, stop the trench and your mud problem solves itself. She promises to keep her folks off my land. I invoice them for the tow. She actually reviews it. A few days pass, ditch repairs, camera footage, more paperwork. Then a certified letter arrives, apology boundary agreement check for my expenses, and notice of a vote to censure the president for overreach. I buy new fence posts, fix the ruts, breathe easier. You'd think that'd be the end. But some folks don't know when to quit. Estate staff dig a shallow trench angled straight to my gate, put up a silt fence like a bad joke. I take photos, email the county environmental officer, and by dawn he's out inspecting. He likes my straw bale fix, tells the board to restore the outflow, fill the trench, and keep their people off my side. At the next open board meeting, I lay out the facts. Liza, a silver-haired neighbor, calls for new leadership. Priya promises 4 things: no more trespassing, restore the pipe, rescind the bogus fines, pay my costs. That afternoon, the county crew fixes everything. Rain falls, just rain, not a lawsuit. A season later, the estates post a flyer. Please respect neighboring property. View from the road, leave nothing but breath. I wave at the sign at a jogger at Crosby, the rookie who got his sedan stuck and paid his fine. Here's how I keep it straight: begin with the law, continue with neighbors, end with the land. That yellow citation sits in my binder, a souvenir from the day someone tried to invoice the sky. Justice wasn't loud, just steady like a fence that doesn't move no matter how hard someone pushes. And if you ever roll into my drive trying to make a circle where there's only a line, I'll pour you coffee, call a tow, and teach you the first word that matters out here: permission. So what do you think? Where's the line between order and overreach, neighborliness and nuisance? Ever dealt with folks who mistake bylaws for boundaries? Drop your stories in the comments. Let's talk about what justice looks like when the mud starts flying.